I believe this, is the best part of Vue, even if you are a junior developer or even if you haven't written a Vue at all. It is easy to understand and start implementing it from day one. Okay, if somebody do to you a good onboarding to explain you some basics, you can start coding from the first week and doing great. I would say do not overload, your app using scripts that's being imported through a third-party script like Google Tag Manager, etc. And by and using Nuxt, using the built-in module, Nuxt module. I mean, with scripts, you have a better handle of your scripts. And this is a good practice, in order to optimize your performance. As also, if you can use CDN for your assets, etc., it make your app a lot performant or any caching. So I had to implement then the search page with filters, etc. So in that page, you were searching like iPhone, for example, and you had some filters on the left side, clicking about the memory size, etc. And then this was making an Ajax request and repopulating, the frontend with jQuery, all of that. So it was kind of pain in the ass doing that. And then after starting the new project with Vue, that I had to do, some similar refreshing the DOM, etc. things. I saw how easy you can do that. And, in comparison on how much hard work I have done, in the other project, creating, filtering, etc., and how simple I could do that with using Vue. It was something like a whole new world.
Our guest today is Andreas Panopoulos, staff software engineer at Hack the Box and co-organizer of Vue.js Athens. Andreas has years of experience building web applications with Vue.js, scaling front-end architecture, and leading teams throughout the challenges of growth. From developer at Booms to full-stack work at iProject to now shaping engineering at Hack the Box, he brings pragmatic perspective on what it takes to run Vue in production at scale. Welcome, Andreas. Thanks for joining.
Thank you too. Nice to be here and have a great conversation.
So welcome, Andreas. Let's start off what first got you into programming?
I believe everything started, when I was very young at the age, I think 6 or 5. My first contact with code, etc., it was in Amsterdam that my father had. So he had an interesting book. I think it was Amstrad 6128, if I'm not mistaken, the model. And he had a book that had code that at that age, it was like Chinese to me, Japanese to me. Yeah, so it was interesting because I was just reading the book and, pushing the keys on the keyboard, and that at the end created a very silly, let's say, game on the Amstrad. It was a small guy and some plates with pasta, were coming along the way, and you had to jump over it. And it has some obstacles as you were leveling up, etc. It was something like the Dino game that you have on the Chrome browser when you don't have connection, something like that. So that was my first contact, with coding, and I felt, impressed by just clicking letters and symbols that I couldn't understand. I created something. So that was my initial first touch. So from that, I continued, studying and ended up to graduating as a programmer and starting sending CVs to a lot of companies, doing some interviews to join one. So after a lot of hard work, let's say, and a lot of interviews, I started on a startup company back then. Booms. It had a loyalty program, so it was at its early beginning, and they had a senior engineer and wanted someone like an intern, let's say, to do the
Do all
rubbish
the
work.
work. To
Yeah,
do all the work.
yeah, right. So I joined. Uh, as I told you, it was a startup. So I had the opportunity to get in contact with both backend, frontend, and mess my hands around with code. And started basically to creating landing pages back then because we did as a startup, we did as a side job, creating landing pages for local companies
Mm-hmm.
as a side job to support our main cause, that loyalty program. So yes, I was creating landing pages using PHP, jQuery, and Bootstrap.
Mm.
It was something uh, made me feel very nice and creative, because we had
Mm-hmm.
the design and I started implementing code. Of course, at that age, I could understand what I'm doing. It was not like, just clicking keyboard keys or as I did when I was 7 years old, and started creating basic landing pages. And of course, I transitioned, to doing more backend work, creating administration panel uh, for our app, for our loyalty program, etc. And yeah, was my first touch in a company writing code.
I actually, we have very similar stories. I was doing the same in my first company, like building WordPress sites. And on the front end, we were using Bootstrap and jQuery mostly. And then as other frameworks appeared, we started using other frameworks. But I actually really, really miss jQuery, to be honest. Like it was very nice. Like,
Yeah, it was nice uh, until React Vue. It's at this kind of frameworks come out. It was like an apocalypse when I found out about Vue. Uh, yeah, later on, I was a lot of years in that startup. As I told you, I started leveling up, doing more difficult work. Let's say working on the loyalty platform, creating the dashboard, the client app,
mm-hmm.
the web app. Yeah, and we had also a mobile app that was used. I don't remember now the name of it. It was from Adobe platform, something that was compiling, the jQuery, etc. to
Cordova,
a
no?
Cordova,
Cordova.
right? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, we use that to compile, our codes to a web frame for a mobile.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Cordova then became what is it used now in Angular? I don't know if it's the same company. Oh, I forgot the name. Basically, you write Angular 2 code and it compiles into native. It's like it's not React Native. Something with
Oh fuck! I'm sorry. my everything.
yeah.
I even there were days that I went out, to companies with the salesman we had to provide, the technical knowledge to do the sale. Or I was going to the clients to set up their PC to work with our app. It was not
Mm-hmm.
something you have to be an expert to do that, but you have to train your clients back then. So you had to also. I was messing with UX and etc. And design for
Mm-hmm.
backend frontend. I have a full perspective of the whole business.
That's
So
good.
yeah.
So, what made you move more towards the front end? Like what?
That didn't happen in that company. I was just
Mm-hmm.
a lot of year. I was I became a full stack
Mm-hmm.
working. As I said, as I told you, Bootstrap jQuery on the front end and PHP on the back end. No frameworks, nothing. Native PHP. So at some level, I wanted, to expand my knowledge. I felt like I have reached a level, and this company couldn't provide me, more challenge more challenges. Anyway, to expand, my knowledge to level up my career. So I transitioned to another company and I started working with the iProject. We were doing a lot of interesting projects and international projects. Of course, if bigger scale, it was like it is like an agency, and we had a lot of clients both from Greece and so I started also there as a full stack, of course, using jQuery. And at some time, we started a new project for a client. And as we were talking about how to work on that project, a colleague of mine back then had started also another project for another client and had introduced Vue. So he suggested that I should do the front end using Vue, and that will help me a lot, learning Vue and doing, the UI magic. And also, of course, he offered me to, if I have, because back then he was a bit more experienced than me, already working on a project, to support me, to provide me any help, any guidance I needed. So yeah, we took the decision to start implementing the front end with Vue. The back end then was with PHP, and I also introduced a slim framework, just to create the API endpoints, etc., and to make my coding life easier. So I used for PHP slim framework and the ORM of Laravel, the Eloquent. I did a combination of these two, and it worked out pretty well, and it was very productive. On the front end, of course, Vue. And yeah, it was an amazing feeling because another project I was working on in that company had to do with a web site in an application that you were selling, used items. It was something like, I don't know if you know Ventora. It is a new app that came here recently in Greece.
We have, I think, Wallapop here or OLX, something like this.
Okay,
Or Vintage.
Vintage. Okay, yeah. So you were creating an account, and you could sell anything of items, of used items that you had. Even even companies have been sold through this application. Anyway, so that application, I didn't create it from the beginning. I just replaced the previous engineer working on that, and it was built again in jQuery, Bootstrap, etc. So I had to implement then the search page with filters, etc. So in that page, you were searching like iPhone, for example, and you had some filters on the left side, clicking about the memory size, etc. And then this was making an AJAX request and repopulating, the front end with jQuery, all of that. So it was kind of pain in the ass doing that. And then after starting the new project with Vue, that I had to do, some similar refreshing the DOM, etc. thing, I saw how easy you can do that. And, in comparison on how much hard work I have done, in the other project, creating filtering, etc., and how simple I could do that with using Vue, it was something like a whole new world for me.
I think for me, I really like. So I also did this like with jQuery. I was using jQuery everything, but then we switched when Angular 1 came out. So I was using Angular 1 framework in 2 or 3 apps that I was working on, and it was really difficult. So it was really, really difficult. And then when Vue came out, it reminded me so much of jQuery in the sense that you can just plug and play it. You didn't need to have like a gulp build or like I don't know what else we were using back then to build our apps, but it was so simple. You just put a CDN and then you can a script tag and then you start writing your jQuery code, your Vue code, and I really really love this. And also the syntax were very similar. I think Evan also worked on Meteor or on what?
Oh, I don't know that. I'm not Meteor. Okay.
I think he worked on a JS framework before Vue, And it's very, very
If I'm
similar.
not mistaken, he was working on Google on the Angular framework and started creating
Also, yeah.
views, something like that. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He was working on Angular before. But it's pretty cool how easy it was. And I really like the props and how you declare data and then you declare your methods. And it was really, really simple. It was similar a little bit like, in Angular 1, you had to declare your factories, declare your controllers, but this was like much more user friendly. I mean, developer friendly than
Yeah,
Angular 1. It was a really big hit
indeed.
and I loved it. I
As
remember.
soon as you would understand, the concept, it has the template, the script and style separately. And, understand all this magic, let's say, with store mixins, etc. Yeah, it was really amazing. And I didn't feel, very difficult to, understand the concept without using it. It was
Mhm.
uh, easy, the learning curve. I believe it was
Yeah, that I think that was the main
yeah.
attraction for people that 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 exploded the Vue community. It was because it was very, very easy to learn. I remember even after, so I used it a little bit, went back to Angular 2 just came out, but I was building everything with Angular 2. And then I went to Vue Amsterdam, the conference, and I was amazed by, this was 2016, 2017, something like this. And I really loved the Vue aspect of it. And I was like, okay, I'm going back. I'm writing this project using Vue. And it's been 9 years, and that project is still being used today, which I think shows how someone can come in and just, you drop a junior developer in some Vue code and he can immediately figure it out. And I think not many languages you can do that with, not many
I agree.
frameworks.
I believe this, is the best part of Vue, that even if you are a junior developer or even if you haven't written a Vue at all, it is easy to understand and start implementing it from day one. Okay, if somebody do to you a good onboarding to explain you some basics, you can start coding from the first week and doing great work.
I want to ask. So you've started with Vue. I guess was it Vue 1 existed?
It was Vue 2. It
It was
was
always 2, right? Vue 2.
yep,
I don't remember being.
2016.
Yeah.
Me too.
Um, so you started with this. Now you're using Vue 3 and Nuxt 3, right?
Currently, I'm using Vue 3 and Nuxt 3. Yes, I knew Nuxt in general, but I haven't used it.
Tell me about the current position at Hack the Box. Did you start the project from scratch? How did it happen?
Okay, no, I didn't start the project from scratch. I joined Hackthebox 4.5 years before.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, we had only the main platform that you can join and spawn a machine and start hacking it. And we had just released the academy platform in which you can join and start learning hacking, or if you are a more expert, to advance your knowledge in a more complicated concept, etc. So when I joined Hack the Box, we were in a phase that we were rewriting our main platform that was in Laravel Blades. We were rewriting it to Vue 2 back then. So I joined there to help. And after some months, I started also contributing to the Academy platform, which was also created with Laravel Blades.
Mm-hmm.
So as the days were passing, I did the full transition, to the Academy platform. And as soon as I started working there, of course, it was a big platform. It was a big platform. I couldn't ask, to rewrite it in Vue too. But
Mm-hmm.
I suggested that we introduce Vue inside our blade in some pages to make our life easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a combination of Laravel Blades and Vue 2, the academy. And then after some last year, we started rebuilding it using Vue 3 and Nuxt 3.
Okay. And removing the Laravel completely.
Yeah. Totally, it is built totally on Nuxt.
I think also for Vue's success, this partnership with Laravel was very good for them. I remember like everyone, at least in Romania, they were using Laravel very, very, it was hugely adopted. And once Vue, they came out of the box, so you can build, like you said, inside of the blades, you can write Vue code. And I think it became much more popular, the Vue framework and the front end ecosystem
Yes,
because
I
of
don't
this.
remember in what version, but at some version of Laravel, they introduced, Vue that you could use it as a front for your front end. And then Inertia came out, so you could write Vue and Laravel instead of using in the base was rendering Vue directly. So
Mhm.
you could pass, from the controller of Laravel data to your front end directly, like server side.
Yeah,
You don't need to even do an API call on the initial load. That was very interesting.
that was very cool. So, what first? Which one do you like best, Vue 2 or Vue 3?
Of course, you three, and all these upgrades, say Composition API and all that introduction of TypeScript on all that stuff. There made developer experience a lot better.
Mhm.
I find it more productive and entertaining. I enjoy writing projects in Vue 3 and using all this ecosystem.
That's true. I mean, for me, I used a little bit Vue 3, I think, just for personal projects and stuff. I like it, of course, I like the reactivity of it, and it's very fast. I think this is what a lot of people are looking at now, and especially the build time, because obviously the core members at Vue are also working on what's it called, Vite.
Vite.
So yeah, the entire ecosystem is very close, which makes it really, really fast. But what do you think is some cool features of Vue 3 that people who code on other frameworks or people who code on Vue 2 are missing out on?
Okay, I believe the big change was the composition API. We had the on Vue to the mixins, but
Yeah, I
okay,
remember the
it
mixings. Oh,
yeah, it is a bit different. Sometimes when you in Vue 2, when you were using a mixin, or you were calling a function through that was inside a mixing. Let's say sometimes it wasn't easy to understand. You had to that this you get confused sometimes, because you were calling a function from a mixing, but this you didn't have good visibility that this comes from the mixing, because you're just defining, the mixing on top, but that's it. So you have to open the mixing and see that, or to search and see that this function that you are using in a component is inside in a mixing. And it was a bit confusing in the whole implementation. Now with the composition API, it is easy to reuse, core logic for some functionality, let's say. So you don't have to rewrite. It is easy to import it in whatever component you want, or even in a different project, like creating, like you, it creating a library. You use it is a library that has a lot of composables that you can use your project, get sorry, and more in time, rather than rewriting things,
mhm.
just importing a composable. You get the functionality for toggling modals, for adding event listeners, whatever. So yeah, it is very useful. Or even inside your own project, you have a functionality that could be the same in another component, and you just add it in a composable, and you can use it in whatever component you need, as long as you don't create a composable that is tightly tied with specific things of a component. You have to make it more generic, let's say, and pass just the properties you need to in order to make it work.
That's pretty cool. I think also Vue does really well the rendering. Sorry, the rendering of components. I think it gives you more control over the reactivity than React does. Like you can declare something reactive, you can declare not. You can also have signals inside of it, which I think is really, really cool how it's built behind the scenes.
Basically, I would say, Vue combines, good things that from React and from Angular and creates something kind of different, but keeping, the good parts of its framework.
So, what do you think is one piece of learning that you got from your early career? So, before Hack the Box, what did you learn from all those jQuery projects, Vue projects? What do you think?
I believe I learned, the basics of JavaScript. Let's say when you want to change the data in your site, I know the basic concept of using JavaScript, or to how to populate a list, how to change all these things. That using Vue, you do it in a lot easier way, but kind of you don't know what is happening, behind the scenes, and
True.
how much work you earn, by using Vue, rather than doing it, with pure JavaScript. So, as I believe in every language and using every framework, it is vital to to have and know how of the basics and
Mm-hmm.
what is going on kind of behind the scenes. And I believe this is, I would say, the disadvantage of starting writing code directly using a more advanced framework that does a lot of work for you, and you don't kind of know what's happening on the background. Yeah.
That's true.
So I,
That's
I
true.
believe from one side I was lucky that I joined in a kind of early stages and see and saw how it is to do it full manually work to create things. And now I see the other side, that how easy, as technology is getting better and better, and our knowledge, how easy to create an application and things using frameworks, leveraging the processes that are happening, on the framework, and you don't have to worry about.
That's true. Yeah. You don't, but you need to learn a little bit. I agree that the basics have to be in your mind at all times when you're a junior developer. And I think we were lucky because we were also like pushed in the meat grinder. So we had to do a lot of stuff, like a lot of websites, a lot of apps in our first year of working, I guess. You
Yeah,
said that you were doing so many projects and yeah, I think now junior developers don't have this, like all those projects that we had to do. Now they're kind of solved a little bit also by AI.
of course. Yeah, indeed. If you have done, the hard work on your own, you appreciate the the use of each framework, because you know what is the burden of doing it, manually, let's say, from
Mhm.
hard coded. I believe it is almost the same now with the use of AI. I mean, what I mean is that a new developer now that will may start the coding and using full on the AI will get things completed, made through the AI, but we will not have the know-how and the burden behind it. You just getting a ready to use code, so
Yeah,
you either understand what it does, either not, but you cannot appreciate the help you get using the AI.
Yeah, and I think one problem that it has is if it went in a direction, it's very hard to stop it from reconsidering and taking a different approach. Only you who knows JavaScript and knows uh, as a developer what is happening, you should say, wait, use this method instead, and
Yeah.
then you're right. It always does this you're right thing.
Yeah, but you have to be careful and curious, I would say. I mean, you can get help from AI, get a code, but be curious about, okay, it suggested me that. What this does? It does, for example, that. Can this be implemented in a different way and easier, with better performance or whatever? And you can be as a challenge. You are getting the code and you are curious to learn more about the, the back of that code you have already taken.
I just realized that we're talking about Vue, but I have a React shirt on. It's pretty funny. So let's talk a little bit about your current position. You're a staff engineer now. How was the transition from full stack senior engineer to staff? How did it go for
Okay.
you personally?
After when I switched to when I started working to hack the box, when I applied for a front end position.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is that in the previous company, as I told you, I was a full stack, but by starting working with you and doing time after time more advanced projects and messing my hands with more advanced concepts with Vue, I felt like I am more creative and I enjoyed more writing Vue rather than writing PHP.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see an open position on Hack the Box for a front end, I applied directly in that. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention. Also, on my previous job, I was a full stack, but I was starting, to looking for work that was more focused on the front end because, as I told you, I enjoyed writing Vue better than PHP.
As we all
Because
do.
yes, writing front end, it is for me, it is nice because you write a code and you see its result directly, on the web browser. And it feels for me a lot of creative, you're creating something beautiful for your clients, for the user, etc. And yeah, I like it. So I applied for a front end position on Hack the Box. And then starting working on Hack the Box, I was working totally on the front end. And from this start, I leveraged to become a staff engineer.
What did you have to do? I'm guessing because I've talked to a lot of staff engineers on this podcast, and usually they say that, they had to make a big project to get that
Okay,
promotion.
as I told you, I helped to rebuild the main platform on Box in Vue.
Mm.
In Vue
Mm-hmm.
2, I moved on to the Academy platform. I started to implementing features for the front end. I joined another backend engineer there. We were two individuals and starting implementing features and new things, on the Academy platform.
Mm-hmm.
So as the years passed by, the Academy project started to have more requirements needed for a bigger team. We started to getting new employees to work on Academy. So I started managing a team of. In the beginning, I was alone. Then we were two people, and currently we're three people on the front end, three on the back end, two QA, product owner, etc. So currently, I'm managing, the whole front end team and the architecture of the academy. And
Okay.
year by year, we came up to that layout lineup. So
Got it. Really cool. How did you do the rewrite? Do you did you have a strategy in place, or did you just kept the old project live until everything was rewritten and you did a big bang release, or did you do it incrementally
for the main platform or for the academy?
for the academy or whatever you think it's?
For the academy, we have the main project live. Currently, we have stopped, adding new features, and we are creating the new app independently from the current app in the production. Okay, so we have paused the new features, the new implementations on the current active platform. We only supported, for updates for any vulnerability, for package updates and any vulnerability or bugs may occur. And we have focused on creating the new application built on Nuxt 3 with TypeScript and Piña.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so this we are going to release, let's say, the beta by the end of September. And yeah, I feel a bit anxious, and I want to hear the users, perspective, and how do they find, the new designs and the new experience.
For people who are not aware, Hack the Box is basically a platform where you learn cybersecurity, right?
Yes, it is not only that; it is separated in from different platforms for different products. So one product is the main platform of Hack the Box, where you join and you can start doing challenges, hacking machines. So you don't have any information. You spawn a machine, and you try to find the vulnerability in order to become a root user on that machine. Or there are some challenges regarding OSINT, etc. This is the one platform. The second platform is the academy, in which you learn about hacking, ethical, of course, and you can also take certifications about some certifications. Sorry, you can take certifications and leverage your knowledge. Either if you are a new user, even if you don't have any knowledge about hacking, you start from fundamentals, let's say Windows fundamentals, Linux fundamentals, and you progress, education. And another platform is the CTF platform, in which you can join some events. CTF is capture the flag. So
Okay.
you can either join an event as an individual or with your team, and compete for the event to capture and the team that captures the most flags, of the event. Uh, is the winner. So you have some challenges, you spawn some machines, you have to get through taxes to find the flag, etc. And the last one is the enterprise, that it is kind of combined, or a combination of all this for companies.
That seems very interesting. Given your domain, like you're working in security and cybersecurity, how do you feel about the
Yeah, yeah, just don't use it. I would say, except if you are very sure about what you are doing. But we have a concept in Hack the Box that says that, like, trust no one.
trust no?
So yeah, so you have to, of course, sanitize, the content before pushing it, through VHTML, etc. So if it is possible to avoid it, avoid using it. Otherwise, be very sure about what you are doing.
That's very true. Do you think Vue, like your platform is used by a lot of users, do you think Vue handles that scale well? What did you find while working on this?
Yes, I believe it was a good choice, to implement Vue in our platform. We have a million of users in every platform, so performance and experience, it is performance is important, and experience of the user, of course. And until now, and of course, sorry, I forget to mention developer experience, because we have to also think about us as a developers. So yes, using Vue we didn't have any problem, and we can support a lot of traction in each platform, a lot of traffic, and make the whole experience fluent.
How do you measure performance, or I don't know, like web core vitals, stuff like that inside of your apps, in your Vue apps? Do you use any third party tool, or do you wrote something yourself?
No, we don't use anything that we created. We use third party, and basically for metrics, etc. A bit confused. We use a segment for tracking events, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And during the development process, we check for loading times and first contentful paint, etc. Basically, for the public faced
Mm-hmm.
get something. I think I'm forgetting something. Anyway, yeah.
Do you have any like quick tips on how to build a performant Vue app? I don't know, something that you like to do, or something some people should avoid doing. What do you think?
Yes, of course. I would say do not overload, your app using scripts that's being imported through a third-party
Mm-hmm.
script like Google Tag Manager, etc. And by and using Nuxt, using the built-in module, Nuxt module. I mean, with scripts, you have a better handle of your scripts, and this is a good practice, in order to optimize your performance. As also, if you can use a CDN, for your
Mm-hmm.
assets, etc., it make your app a lot performant, or any caching mechanism. Basically that.
Yeah, I think Nuxt by itself, when you start an app, it's really optimized for performance. I think it's really good. I like this as well with plugins, because I think one reason is you always get too many plugins inside of your app, and having them in a one place that Nuxt does, I think is
Yeah, right.
really, really cool.
Yeah, you're right.
And your third party tools.
But the most important thing is to not overload your app with scripts. Just keep the totally necessary.
I've noticed that Vue is very, very used in Athens, especially in the communities, in multiple companies. Like I've never seen it at this level in any other city. Like here in Barcelona, only 2 companies use Vue. Home in Bucharest, I think no one uses Vue. So why do you think it became so popular in Athens?
Uh, okay, I would say I don't have a so clear vision about that. That it is so popular. I would say because most of the companies, I think, are using React, to be honest, for some reason. Yeah, we have a yes, I think, but yeah, this what you say, it keeps me a bit surprised, because if you have noticed that, that's something I'm missing, to be honest.
I mean, you organize Vue.js Athens. How many people do you get usually at your meetups?
Yeah, around to 20 to 40 people, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I mean, to be there in person, 20 to 40 people. But I think as a team, as organizers, have to work on that a bit more, because we don't work under a specific schedule, let's say. So sometimes uh, we are not announcing, the next meetup early enough, so for people to organize, their daily work, in order to join. The feedback we get sometimes, most of the times. So we have to work on that for sure. Okay, regarding Vue, we have a lot of people. We have some big companies that are using Vue, and this is a good factor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that from what I feel, people are keen on using React because
Mm-hmm.
most companies are using React.
Okay, I got the impression that it's very used, at least compared to other cities. I think Athens is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a view about other cities. Yeah, yeah, sure. I feel I don't know what to answer about that. Yeah, I wish that we do our best, to make more developers to use Vue. I think that if you try Vue at least once, then you get stuck with it.
You fall
It
in
is,
love.
yeah, you fall in love. So we have a lot of people, yeah, developers in Hack the Box that joined after using React in the previous companies, in the
Mm-hmm.
previous company. And then you have switched to Vue, and yeah, I'm getting a good feedback about that.
Are you a fan of like extracting core business logic outside of the framework and building like classes and pure JavaScript, or keeping everything in the framework as composables or stuff like that? What's your take on this?
Currently, yeah, we are using composables to keep the logic of specific business things. I would say that depends on the project and its requirements and its business logic.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, based on our project requirements, we use composables for that. We have created, some classes for specific things like error handling, etc.
Of
But
course, yeah.
in general, we are using composables. We keep the logic there, and I'm regarding that. I'm very fond of writing as simple as code as possible. So sometimes overcomplicating things or doing a lot of advanced things, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
can backfire to you.
For sure. Yeah. Do you have trouble finding speakers for your meetup? Because this, I also organize the React meetup here in Barcelona, and this is my main challenge, like finding people to come and speak at the conference, at the meetup. How's
Yes,
it going for you?
we have a difficulty, finding speakers. Although, as I told you earlier, we have a participation, as attendance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They are maybe afraid, to public speaking. I'm also have that anxiety issues of public speaking, and what I do for that is just taking part in, and what I do is to giving talks, trying to give as much talks as possible, public speaking, and
How
I
did you
believe
start?
this would help me. I don't know.
Did you start inside of your company and then you did at meetups, or did you go directly
Yeah,
to meetups?
I started inside my team first of
Mm-hmm.
all. So I introduced, I did some small talks regarding concept and implementation, etc. That is very easy to do because there are people that you work every day with them, and you feel them like they may be friends, but you feel them like family. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like talking to your family.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the next step is to do a talk or a presentation, in the company for the devs department. Yeah, that hits you a bit hard because it is totally different to giving a talk and have four pair of eyes looking at you, and totally different to have, I don't know, 60 people looking at you. Oh, yeah, this is an interesting feeling. And then the next step is to do it on a meetup. Depending on the meetup size, yeah, it can be the same as giving a talk on your company, or a, a one step bigger. And then in a conference, I didn't get the guts until now to apply for a conference talk. But is on my plans for this season, this year.
You should. It's
Yeah.
something else. I don't know if I mentioned this, but our common friend Fotis is the reason that I've started speaking at this. Like, he organized inside Glovo a mini conference. I was not aware of like the Vue ecosystem at all. Like, I knew Evan, of course, but that's it. I didn't know anyone else. And he talked with some people, and he created this called Vue on the Road conference in our office at Glovo in Barcelona. And Eduardo, the creator of Pina, was there. A lot of people from the Vue ecosystem, like Daniel Rowe from Nuxt. And then I had also to give a talk there, and I was super embarrassed, like super nervous. What can I talk about Vue when all of these Vue core contributors are going to be on the stage, you know? But yeah, I was shaking actually before the talk. It was pretty fun, I would say. Afterwards, I got the thrill of it, and now I really enjoy going on stage. And I also did it because I was afraid of public speaking. So if you are afraid of this, try it out. Do what Andreas recommends. Like, do it in your company, go to a small meetup, and then try at least one conference. I think start locally, because I think conferences in your city love having speakers from the city. They save money on travel for sure.
You know, we want to see new faces also in the Vue meetup, you know, hear new thoughts, new concepts, etc. It is interesting that, you know, we find it hard to find people to give talks on the for Vue meetup, but if we have a speaker, we get interesting questions, you know, from the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice, you know, to get a feedback from your audience after giving a speech and have interesting questions and seeing the willingness of people, you know, to learn more about something you presented or something that you said they didn't know. And if you find, you know, the courage to make a questions as an audience, it's not that big deal to give a small talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same. My first touch with public speaking outside of the company. It was in the last summer, the Ministry of Testing, last year, the Ministry of Testing meetup that takes part here in Athens in the start of the summer, in June, if I'm not mistaken. So they had a section around the end, you know, of the presentations and of the speakers that you participate. There is no need to have a specific any talk related to testing, etc. It is open to everybody, and you have only 1 minute and a half, I think, you know, to say something. And this is the cause of it is just, you know, to do the big step to talk in front of a lot of people, you know, to do the start of public speaking. And I took part on it, and it was very funny because the whole week I had a small talk, a small paragraph, let's say, 1 minute and a half presentation, right?
Yeah.
It had to do with habits. Anyway, and I was saying in front of the mirror or, you know, walking on the road, I was saying out loud my words the whole week, even 5 minutes before I get up on the stage, and everything, you know, were rolling out fluently. I was feeling ready to to give the talk, and the moment I got up on the stage, yeah, I started getting, you know, sweat, have a heartbeat beating, yeah, and started saying my words. And suddenly, when I realized that everything is on your head, to be honest, but when I saw that so many people are looking at me, you know, I lost my words. I lost the world under my feet. But then people, of course, you know, starting applause, you know, to
Pump you up.
pump you up, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If I didn't knew, if I wasn't me, I wouldn't realize that the guy on the stage, had a blackout. It is
Mhm,
everything on our head, on our
that's
mind.
true. I think I read a couple of books on public speaking, and one of them really recommended not learning your entire talk word for word, but break it down into like parts and say, okay, this part I'm talking about this. Of course, for longer talks, not 1 minute and a half. And the reason is like if you learn it word per word and then you mess up one word, you can't remember it. You could be blocked and not speak anything else. And I really like
This is what
that
happened
approach.
to me back then. Yeah, I forgot a specific word because I had learned, my speech that way, as you mentioned, and I forgot that specific word, and I lost my flow. And because you forget the word, of course you're feeling anxious right there.
Mhm.
You're not coming up with a synonym of another word that could use instead of the word you forgot, and you are feeling that you have been blocked out, for a long time. But this is just seconds. I mean, if you just continue talking, proceed with your talk, people will not understand that you forgot your words or anything.
We're closing up on the final minutes. I have just a couple of personal questions. Let's say, what do you do to relax?
What I do to relax? Okay, I used to do cycling a lot,
Mm.
after work, and now I have stopped that habit, and due to uh, I don't have much time, but that was very relaxing, and I'm thinking of restarting it, restarting doing that habit. So currently, what I do is going out for a walk. My dog, specifically after a work. 30 minutes walk.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you fresh up. Just walk and think of nothing if that is possible. Of course, spending some time with my daughter. Yeah, she a new member in the family.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, spending some 2.5 years. So spending some time with her can make you relax. From your daily problems.
Nice.
Watching movies or see, but
That's
I'm
cool.
trying not to binge watching.
And what can you recommend some books to me to read? Anything that you liked? I really like reading, and if you have anything in your mind that you loved recently
Yeah,
or
yes, of course.
programming or not, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I have to suggest some books that I have read and helped me a lot. So first of all, I would suggest the book Eat Your Frog.
Eat Your Frog.
You know that?
No.
Okay. Let me check that I'm saying it right. Yeah, Eat the Frog. I mean, the title in English.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is Eat the Frog. So it is a very small book, and gives you some nice suggestions on how to be productive.
Oh, okay.
It supports, doing the most boring or difficult things early in the morning in order to, as the time pass by, get tired to be more happy to work on things that you like. So if it is very boring for you to do answering the emails, doing the emails first thing on your day, it gives you uh, strength, let's say, to do the things you like most in the rest of the day as you're getting tired.
Yeah, that's a good advice.
It has to do with, with productivity, let's say, tips.
Mm-hmm.
So I suggest that. Another thing, another book. Yeah, I would suggest some motivational books that helped me a lot. So another book is Atomic Habits.
I've read that one. It's very
Yeah, it
good.
is very helpful and change, a lot of the, how you think about, yeah. And for programmers, I would suggest you don't know JS book. I don't remember the writer,
The
but
Simpson.
right, yeah, he had joined the CDJS some years before. This is how
Yeah, I
met
met
him
him a
and
couple of times as well. He's a really nice
yeah,
guy. I
yeah,
really
yeah,
like his books.
indeed. And another, basically, this is a website, but has also a book that you can download. It is JS Patterns,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
I think I know it, but it's very good. You're right.
And JS Design Patterns. I forgot. Yeah, patterns.dev is the website and has an ebook. Yeah, it is very interesting.
Cool. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you for joining. It has been an absolute blast talking to you. I think a lot of people learn more about Vue now, and I think they should try it out for sure. I think both of us really loved it, like starting our careers with it. It does a lot of wonderful, wonderful things that I think people should try.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cool. See you later.
Yes.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much.